I'm Jessica. Welcome to Gather Together Homestead. Today I am putting together my Souptember entry video for a collaboration that Mennonite Farmhouse is hosting. And I have been so excited about this collaboration because one, we're going into fall and that is soup season. And two, I love to just try other people's recipes. I'm that one that when you invite for supper and don't have your recipe printed off, I'm gonna hound you for the next 2 weeks for that recipe because we like variety in our home, so I like to try new things and not be stuck in the same rut of these 5 meals every darn week. So I did go ahead and watch one of the other videos. I have got to catch up. It is my understanding that there are awesome prizes and giveaways if you watch all the videos and comment on all of them. So make sure that you find Mennonite Farmhouse and find the playlist for the Souptember collaboration, because my goal is to watch all of them, comment on all of them, and try at least one other recipe. Here, let's get started. I again am doing a tortellini soup. This is with sausage, and it is not super healthy, maybe keto friendly, I don't know, because it's super cheesy and the sausage is full of fat. But this is a super simple crowd pleaser type of soup. I like to use my crock pot for this recipe, so it's your dump and go for the most part. And it just is one of those busy night, feel like you had a good put together dinner that was really simple. So today I'm going to do the tortellini soup. I did pick up some crescent rolls that we're gonna have with our dinner, and then I am going to make I call it an apple cobbler. Glenn calls it an apple crisp, but basically it is just like an apple pie without the crust. That's cobbler, but I put a crumble topping. It's my mom's recipe and I usually double it because it's so awesome. We want the crumb topping in every bite. So we'll do that second, but I have went ahead and got everything kind of prepped. So real quick, I will run through the recipe and then we'll get to going. This is gonna be a really quick video because it's that simple. First off though, last year when we went to send out Christmas cards, I had saw this idea on Pinterest or Facebook and just thought it was the coolest thing. So this is our Christmas card from last year. And on the front obviously is our photo, but on the inside, where if you remove our little note, it's this recipe. I saw that idea and thought that is so awesome. Then over the years, rather than just keeping the Christmas cards or pitching them whenever you do, you have their family favorite recipe, and then each year I'll just throw a different recipe on there. And I thought that was so cool, and I got multiple recipes from other people too, so that was exciting. This recipe is not my own. I'm pretty sure it's off of Pinterest or something. I had posted on Facebook years ago asking friends for their go-to recipes just to change up our weekly meal plan. And this was one that a Facebook friend of mine had posted, and we tried it, fell in love with it, and I think I maybe altered something. I don't know. I don't remember if it was exactly like this, but this is the recipe we use and love it. You could add basically many options here to kind of make it your own. But how we do it is I do 1 pound of sweet Italian sausage. Today I am going to double it, but the original recipe is 1 pound sweet Italian sausage, 8 ounces of cream cheese cubed. I do use the Philadelphia. I don't get any off-brands for this because that's kind of a main component here. Garlic salt, fresh spinach. You'll need 4 cups of chicken broth and 2 cans of drained Rotel. If you want to make it spicier, you can go with the spicier Rotel. I usually just do mild. I did go ahead and brown my Italian sausage. It's been rinsed as well. Got my Rotel drained. My cream cheese is cubed. Got the lovely little crock pot here. I've already got my chicken broth in here. Now, it's on low. So I will cook this for 4 hours on low. And then about 30 minutes, oh, I forgot the main ingredient. the big deal, the tortellini. In your ingredients, don't forget to buy your frozen tortellini. That's usually in your freezer aisle, like where the breads are. And so they have multicolor tortellini or just regular tortellini. I've used both. I prefer the non-multicolor only because my kids seem to do better with just the white. I don't know, but we do that. I will not get that out until about 30 minutes before we're gonna eat. So for 4 hours on low, this is gonna cook with all of our ingredients other than the tortellini and the spinach. Spinach is also something you can add more or less of or completely omit. I like the spinach. I just get a fresh baby spinach like this, and then I chop it up and I put it in mine. Glenn, however, does not care for that, so I either put me some to the side and add the spinach, or put him some to the side without the spinach and put it in the main dish. But about 30 minutes before you plan to sit down and eat is when you do want to throw in the tortellini and the spinach, if you're going to use that. This is going to be the most intricate, detailed recipe you're ever going to find, so hold on tight. Take your meat. It's going to go right in crock pot. Could always do it on the stove. Like I said, I just like a crock pot unless I'm doing a larger recipe. Rotel, again, that is drained. The meat was rinsed after being browned. Cream cheese is cubed. Dump it in. You could add a variety of different herbs and spices in this. But today we're just gonna keep it simple because this recipe has not failed me yet. Everybody always loves it. In fact, when I sent out that Christmas card, we have a couple of families here in town that I had sent it to, and they have commented how they love it so much, and one of them makes it like every week. So I love that because we love it. So garlic, salt, however much you like. Give it a little stir. And then put the lid on it and forget about it while I make my apple cobbler. Now we're gonna put together another super simple recipe. The only things you're gonna need for this is I usually buy a bag of apples. I did buy 2 today just because they're smaller apples and I wanted to make sure I had plenty, plus we eat apples, so it's fine. I usually try and find a variety that's very firm, that way when I try and push my thumb into it, it's not dimpling, putting holes in it. I do not like soft apples. These ones are either Gala or Honeycrisp, but that's usually the one I veer to. Use any kind of apple you want. You'll need flour, sugar, stick butter at room temperature, so have it be setting out. Cinnamon, I use a little bitty bit of cornstarch, and that should do it. So this little contraption here is something that my mom had for years in her kitchen, and I definitely cannot live without it because I absolutely love it. I use this obviously for my apple cobbler, but I also use it when I'm canning pears because it's just perfect. No skin, no core, you're all set. Should have had a knife. So I will just go through and get all of these ready. Once I have one solid layer, I will take little, like just little pieces off of my stick of butter, put it in there, and I'll do some cinnamon, some sugar, a little bit of cornstarch, and I just keep piling it up until I'm got a nice heap, and then I will put the crumb topping together. So for the crumb topping, you will need, goodness, I don't know why this isn't wanting to stick today. You will need 1/3 a cup of butter from your stick butter. So just make sure that you have more than that for what you're gonna put in your cobbler. butter, some pieces of butter in here. There's just really not a direct recipe to it. Just some. It's good. So that was what? Like 5 little slices. And I'll do a little sprinkle of cinnamon. And sugar. And then the cornstarch is literally just a little bit here. And I put that, let's go with a little bit more than that. I put that in just to help thicken it up, because as this cooks, the juice from the apple and the butter is gonna really get going in there, and that'll just help to thicken it. I have got this into a nice little mound of apples and butter and cinnamon and sugar. So now, once I finish up adding my cinnamon, we'll get the crumb topping going. Okay, it's really important when you do your crumb topping that your butter is really room temperature. Otherwise, it will kind of just clump and it won't do what you're needing it to do. So I've got my flour, my sugar, and my butter right here. So I just kind of, ooh, I always do this. I should have gotten a bigger bowl every time. So you're basically just gonna use your hands, kind of break apart the butter, get it all mixed up. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna kind of clump up like pieces of a dough. It won't go into one big dough ball, but we'll just kind of clump up into pieces. And then I'll sprinkle it on top. You don't want to pat it down and really form it to your cobbler, just kind of let it be messy. And then the key to this is make sure you put some foil under your cobbler, because it is definitely going to boil over and it will make an absolute mess in your oven. The fun thing about making cobbler is you can add other fruits in. So a lot of times we'll add cherry pie filling to this and have a cherry apple cobbler. I'm such a mess in the kitchen. Oh my gosh. But we like to do that. I've done, seems like I've added cherry into my peach cobbler too, but I do this crumb topping on peach cobbler as well. It's kind of a no fail. It's so wonderful. Okay, so now that this is all mixed together, it's like little crumbly dough balls. So that's what you're looking for. And then, just, this is so messy. Kind of add it, see if you can see, get that out of the way. To the top here. Now I do kind of pat the sides a touch so it's not just rolling down. But one of the first times I had made this years ago, I kind of like patted it all in like a sandcastle almost. And it's fine, it just isn't as much of a crumb. It's kind of a, I don't know, just was more uniform than I wanted. Now, with dirty hands, let me wash them all. My camera was angled above me. Oh my gosh, this is a disaster. But it all cleans, and it's well worth it when you have this wonderful dinner and dessert. It's awesome. So Glenn almost feels like I just can't hardly get enough sugar and cinnamon on the crumb topping. Like, that's the best part. It's wonderful. So to your discretion, I just kind of make sure it looks covered. That was maybe a quarter of a cup. In fact, it wasn't even full. So it doesn't take too much, but make sure you get it covered. And my cinnamon, come Now the cinnamon, I do try and be careful because if I get a big clump of it like I did in my apples, it'll look burnt. It's not, but. All right, finished masterpiece. Apple cobbler with crumb topping. I'll put it in the oven at 350, 375, somewhere in there, depending on your oven. And generally it takes somewhere around an hour, depending on how thick I've got it and what dish I use, because sometimes I use little square dishes and make not as rounded of a one. I would expect this one to take about an hour. I just keep an eye on it. What I'm looking for is obviously the oozing and boiling over of the apple pie filling. I guess if you want to call it that. It's butter and apple and cornstarch all mixed together, everything you do on the stove. But the boiling over of the apple liquids, and then I'm looking for this crumb topping not to burn, but to get crispy. So the secret to this too is day one, it's gonna be fantastic. Day two, it's gonna be really good, but your crumb topping is not going to be as crunchy. So definitely make this on a day of the week where everybody's going to be around, and you can kind of get it ate within a first day or three. Usually after day two, it's getting softer and softer. I don't know if maybe you could put it in the air fryer. That seems to crisp everything up. I don't know. We usually reheat it and eat it warm. And don't forget, you'll want some vanilla ice cream to go alongside this. I hope you guys enjoy this dinner as much as I do, and I'll show you what all of the finished products look like here shortly.